No.
To the left. 3, 4. To the left.
Seriously? While the IRS was targeting conservative groups, some workers were making videos in order to pump themselves up for lavish conferences, all paid for by you and me. A new Inspector General's report out tomorrow says the IRS spent $50 million on conferences between 2010 and 2012, and it includes everything from spoof videos to presidential suites. I mean, is this for real? And who is going to be held accountable for an IRS that is completely out of control? Joining us with reaction is Congressman Louie Gohmert, Republican from Texas. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. Let's dive right in. I want to start with Congressman Darrell Issa and the fact that 2 IRS workers in Cincinnati testified that they were told to do this from Washington. They feel like, and I'm paraphrasing, that they've been thrown under the bus here, but that they were getting orders from headquarters in D.C. How do you verify something like that, and do you believe it?
Well, you don't have to divorce yourself from common sense. As a judge, we used to tell that to jurors. And if you see that somebody finds out about illegality within his own department, many months, like a year ago, way before the election, and he's been making 157 trips to the White House, then I think you'd pretty well have to divorce yourself from reality to think that he did not mention to anyone. Either he is the worst incompetent employee in IRS history, or he did report it to higher-ups that they'd found out that the IRS was targeting conservative. But what we found out is it wasn't just Easter eggs that were getting rolled at the White House.
Right. One of the problems, though, is Congressman Elijah Cummings, who is the top Democrat on the oversight panel. He says that no IRS workers have testified to this, that they were getting their orders from Washington. So how do you reconcile different things? Because, I mean, how could he be looking at the same information and come to it and listening to the same testimony and come up with a completely different impression?
I think he's right as far as testimony that people have not come right out and said, I got my orders from the White House. I think he's right. I think they've said that. I don't know if they will, but what we've seen here is an IRS that's gotten a taste for conservatives' hide. They have come after them, and you know, if a bear gets a taste for human flesh, then you have to put them down. I'm not suggesting that with IRS agents,
but
I am suggesting it with the IRS. I'm saying we got to get rid of the IRS.
So you're going to get rid of the entire agency, everyone in it, from the commissioner on down?
Well, no, if they can show that they have been good employees, then maybe they can get on with a different agency. But this is a disaster, and the hearings, we're not done with them. And I did just leave a hearing on appropriations. I'm not on appropriations, but I'm very interested. And when I hear a gentleman very humbly say, you know, what we really need to do is get to the motivation of what happened here. No, we don't. Was it greed? Was it power? It wasn't probably greed, but it was power. What you need to do, and I think you would agree, is that you need to figure out where it started and how high it went. Exactly.
And how do you do that if it goes beyond the IRS and it started even higher than that? How do you determine it and prove it beyond a reasonable doubt? Do you need a smoking gun?
We don't need it beyond a reasonable doubt as far as cleaning up the government, but we do need to continue to have hearings. We need to continue to have people interviewed, and we need whistleblowers to come forward and just give us the truth so that people can have faith in government. I don't think they're going to have it in the IRS again.
No,
and if you noticed in the dance step, Melissa, they go very well to their left. They have a hard time going to the right.
You're talking about getting to the top and finding the whistleblower. A lot of people are worried. Lois Lerner, currently out on paid leave. She's still collecting her $177,000 per year salary. That's more than you get paid to be a congressman. She's being paid to stay at home. Do you worry that that is, in essence, hush money? That the reason why this is being done is to keep her from talking and saying where she possibly got her orders from?
Well, regardless of what the intent, again, the motivation doesn't matter. That's the practical effect. And, you know, I think they believe it really is punishment to stay at home and not work. I mean, they might have to watch, you know, mainstream TV. That'd be punishment enough. So But it is ridiculous. People, well, you've got the same thing down in Fort Hood. You've got a guy that killed 13 Americans still getting paid, and they're not. So a number of them. So it's pretty outrageous what this administration has done.
It is outrageous. And before we run out of time, I just want to ask you really quickly to react to all the news we got today of the excess in spending that's gone on. You know, the $50 million on 220 conferences between the 2 years. $4 million of it going to this conference in Anaheim. They have motivational speakers. They have baseball tickets. They have presidential suites. How can this go on?
Well, it's got to be stopped. And you, for viewers, you attach that article through your Twitter, and they can find all this information there. But Melissa, what about $17,000 for someone to speak to IRS agents about leadership through art? Are you kidding me? I love art. I've got a daughter that's an incredible artist. But for the IRS, forget the art. Do your job.
No, it's true. And as Americans, we're so frustrated because we always hear about this after the fact when the money has been spent and it's gone. And it was my and your hard-earned dollars. Congressman, thank you for coming on. I hope you'll stay on the case. All right, here's our money question of the day. Are you more outraged about IRS specific groups or spending that $50 million on employee conferences? I mean, there are really so many disgraceful elements here now. The general consensus from responses so far is that it's hard to pick just one thing to be furious about. We want to hear from more of you. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/MelissaFrancisFox or follow me on Twitter. It's fun, I promise. The congressman was just talking about it there. I'm Melissa A. Francis. All right, time now for today's Fuel Gauge Report.